Hi, it's Brady with IMI Motorsports, and today we are at IMI Motorsports Complex, and we are going to be hopping on a Surron Light Bee X. Now, I am really excited to get on this bike. I have never been on any sort of lightweight e-moto before, but I did grow up on mountain bikes and BMX bikes, so I'm interested to see how it compares to that sort of riding. I should mention that this is a demo model. We sell all of our Surrons new at IMI Motorsports, so this is the only one I'm really allowed to put some miles on. But we have an awesome service department downstairs, so I would say for all intents and purposes, this bike has been beautifully maintained and is comparable to do, maybe besides some tire tread, but I guess we'll figure that out in a little bit. Today we're going to be doing some jump tracks, some flow tracks. I don't know if their flat track is open, but if it is, we're going to go rip around there a little bit and generally just get a full consensus of this bike. Anyways, I'm not going to keep you guys waiting any longer. Let's get into it. Alright, while we watch some footage of me getting used to the mud and getting a feel for the bike, let's go over some facts and specs. The Surron Light Bee X isn't technically a dirt bike. Instead, it's classified as a lightweight e-moto. I would say it rides more like a mountain bike with a motor than it does a conventional dirt bike. It's nimble, super light, and really easy to handle, especially in tighter technical terrain. The 2024 model measures just over 74 inches in length with a wheelbase of 49.4 inches. Seat height is 32.6 inches and ground clearance sits at just over 10.6 inches. With the battery installed, total weight is around 123 pounds, however without the battery it's just under 100 pounds. Carrying capacity is rated at 220 pounds. It puts out 6,000 watts of peak power and delivers 184 foot-pounds of torque at the rear wheel. Top speed is about 46 miles an hour, and in ideal conditions it can go up to 60 miles at a steady 25 miles an hour. Power comes from a 60-volt, 40-amp-hour lithium-ion battery, and a full charge takes about 3 hours. Suspension-wise, you've got an inverted coil spring hydraulic fork in the front with 7.8 inches of travel, and in the back, Surron's Intersect TR multi-link system with 8.3 inches of wheel travel. Braking is handled by 4-piston hydraulic disc brakes, and it runs the same size tire front and rear, 70 by 100 on 19-inch rims. The frame is made from forged aluminum alloy, so it is lightweight but still built tough. You get 2 riding modes, Eco and Sport, and regenerative braking is active when you're in Sport mode. Color options for 2024 include black, silver, blue, and purple. Now if we look at the 2025 model, it sticks with the same core geometry and design, but it introduces a few key upgrades. The most notable change is power. The new version increases peak output to 8,000 watts and torque to about 196 foot-pounds. Top speed is slightly higher at 46.6 miles an hour. Not a massive jump, but paired with the extra torque, it should feel quicker off the line and stronger in climbs. Battery capacity remains the same at 60 volts 40 amp hours, but the 2025 model now uses Samsung 50S cells. These cells offer better thermal performance and improved longevity. Charging is also more efficient, taking about 2.5 hours to full compared to the 3 hours on the 24 model. Suspension travel is the same on both models, but the 2025 gets upgraded gold inverted front forks. Internally, they're tuned for better response, especially under rougher road conditions. Throttle control is where you see another big improvement. The 2025 model features a new 2-stage adjustable throttle map. It gives a smoother, more precise input compared to the throttle tune on the 2024. The curb weight is slightly higher at 125.6 pounds, but the overall feel should be nearly identical. The length is also trimmed down just a little bit from 74.2 inches to 72.8 inches, but everything else like seat height and ground clearance stays the same. And finally, color options were changed for the 2025 model. There is now a sage green livery along with the liveries from the 2024 models, but silver is no longer a stock color option. So overall, the 2025 Light Bee X builds on what the 2024 already did well. The changes aren't huge, but the upgrades to power, battery tech, throttle feel, and suspension could make a real difference depending on how and where you ride. IMI Motorsports currently carries both the 24 and the 25 Light Bee X, so you can come check both of them out. So, let's talk about my first impressions of this bike, having ridden it around for probably 30 or 45 minutes. I think this thing is great. It's super agile, it's very responsive, not too much torque in the rear wheel. I know hearing probably that 184 to 196 foot-pounds to the rear wheel is pretty intimidating, but it handles great on dirt, it handles great in mud. As you can see, the course is pretty muddy, but I think this thing is great. I'm probably very used to the heftiness of a R1, so taking this thing around corners, it handles like a dream. I think right now my biggest obstacle is getting more comfortable out on that field, and we'll come back and give you a better review. While I ride around a little bit more, I wanted to talk about the filming location for this video, IMI Motorsports. This complex is located in Dacono, Colorado, and has a wide range of tracks for both on and off-road riding. This facility includes a full asphalt road course, mainly used for karting and supermoto, but also has multiple dirt tracks with different layouts and difficulty levels. There's a pro motocross track designed for more advanced riders, as well as an intermediate track for those still progressing. In addition to that, there's a dedicated supercross track, a flat track, a turn track, a rhythm section, a mini bike track, and a kids area, each offering a different kind of terrain and layout. There's also a separate ATV and UTV track, giving four-wheel riders a space of their own to ride. Given that you don't go the day after a rainstorm like I did, the terrain will be mostly dry and open, and the layout makes it really easy to move between tracks. Overall, I had a lot of fun here, and I will be going back in the future, hopefully when it's more dry. Ouch. Knee pads need to go up a little. So now that I've ridden this bike around a little bit, let's talk about some of the things that I've noticed that I don't like. Because after all, this isn't just me fawning about the bike video. The first thing that I really noticed, I'll stop the bike here so I can show you, is these OEM pedals get so gummed up with mud. Just like, and it's thick and it won't come out, and I find myself getting off every once in a while to kind of clean these out, poke them through, because I'm losing traction pretty regularly. Now, I can't say that's the worst thing that happens. I know that happens with a lot of pegs, but if you're buying this bike, that's something to consider, that you might need to do a peg replacement. The other thing that I really don't love about it is how much power it is right instantaneously. Whereas in a conventional dirt bike, you get a little bit of play in that. This, as soon as you land on the jump, like on a jump, and you have the throttle on, it's over. Like I've almost crashed so many times doing that, just because I'm so used to landing jumps with the throttle on. So it's a different riding style for sure, but it's something that you could very realistically get used to in a short amount of time. The battery right now, I don't know if you can see it, is at 44%. I've been riding for probably 2.5 hours, so you get probably their recommended 5 hours or 45-ish miles of ride time. So that's pretty cool how much battery it has. I know on some of the earlier generation bikes, that was an issue where you could ride for a certain amount of time and then it would just kick the bucket and you'd have to walk it back. But as long as you're keeping an eye on the battery life, I think it's a decent bike and it has really good battery life. Alright, so what are my next impressions of this bike? Well, it's a different riding style for sure, and that I don't really love, you know, but it's something realistically you could get used to if you're riding these bikes a lot. But it's faring well with the mud, it's faring well on all the tracks, it's fun to send, it's light enough, it's agile, and it's I would say an overall 9 out of 10 bike. I'd have to get back to you once I ride a couple more e-motos, but I would say this is in the top 3 of my favorite bikes I've ever ridden. So I'm probably gonna let the camera charge, eat a little bit of lunch, and then we'll get back out on it.
head over handlebars on that one. Yeah, that's maybe my call to stop.
All right, so currently it's about 1:30. I've ridden this bike since about 10 in the morning, and it is just dropped below 10%, so I'm probably gonna pack up and head home. But I just wanted to say a couple final words on this bike. I really like it. I think in the coming months, I will be buying one of these. It's super responsive, it's super light, it's super agile. If you're on the fence of buying one of these, I would say go for it. It's a super fun bike. I think it's the right size for just about anybody to ride. I would say the only thing I don't like about this bike is it's a little bit of a different riding style, and like I mentioned earlier, the pegs do kind of get gummed up with mud, but if you know you're going to be riding in mud, that's about a $20 or $30 replacement, and I believe Surron makes it pretty easy to swap out those pegs and mod this bike. So come check it out at IMI Motorsports. We have this model, 24 and 25, we have the Hyper Bee, and we have the Ultra Bee. Alright, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one.